That exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. Home to the Asian Oprah, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, JioSaavn, Podchaser, Spreaker, and so many more places. Why? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness and balance out all the ready and available bad news out there with some good news. Because it is your birthright to be happy 88% of the time. Why not 100% of the time? Well, if you're 100% happy, you're dead. And I don't want dead people walking or talking or streaming or liking or any of those things. I want you to claim your birthright to be happy 88% of the time, most of the time. So I have topics and guests to that end. I'm so excited to tell you that coming back to the studio, she's now 92, I believe. She came to the studio when she was 89. You saw her in the 8-year summary video clip as the news was playing, the NBC News was playing. Her name is Marion Ross. She was classic TV's beloved mother, Mrs. Cunningham. She'll be coming back, and I'm just so excited about that. Yay! Yeah. If you've missed any of my past show, we just had Dr. John Gray, mega bestseller, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Gosh, go to my red carpet playlist if you want to see Elan's dad, Otis Williams, the amazing, timeless, ageless. He's still performing on stage, the founder of The Temptation. So lots for you on my YouTube channel. I see somebody already gave us the finger. Not that finger, but this finger. You can actually come and talk and chat about whatever we're tempted to talk about. And as you can see, I also have special series just for you. And today is Friday. So you know the beauty that is next to me. Her name is Elan Carter. She's so many things. She modeled. I think you still can say you're a model. Like you're still modeling. You're still doing stuff. It's not just
I'm busy. I don't know about modeling stuff, but I am busy doing stuff.
Yes, for sure. The Good Morning Fashion choreographer, playmate, Playboy bunny, music video, vixen, Soul Train, you name it, she's done it. Please welcome back to my studio, Elan Carter. Good morning, darling.
Good morning. Do you have your coffee?
I don't have a coffee. I have a drink, but your internet is definitely fading.
Is it acting up again?
Yeah, but anyways, here we go. Let's cheers first. Okay. Cheers to good internet. Bing. Good job.
Now I have to ask. I look a little bit fuzzy on this side. Is the lighting weird?
That's the internet. That's
the internet.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'll be right back,
okay.
Guys.
All right. We are talking today about May Mental Health Month and mental health awareness. So if you are not aware or specifically, we're going to talk about things that we can actually control that are within our control as far as mental health is concerned, our own mental health today. And that's what we're tempted to talk about. So if you have any questions or comments, just to do the disclaimer, neither Elan and I are mental health mental health licensed professionals.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say
Yes.
that are mentally for both of us. Some people
Yeah, we're both.
like,
We can be both mental.
I own my mental whatever I have going on.
Yeah. Yes. But
because I have silliness. That's what mine is.
Definitely. We own our opinions for sure. And, it is called Take My Advice. I'm not using it, but we do have experience for sure. I think both of us have had so many things happen to us. I actually had a therapist say to me, with what you grew up with and what you've gone through, it is amazing that you are not clinically depressed. So I've had, professionals say that. So I know that I do have the capacity to pass on some tools, some Happy 88 tools for you, and Elan as well, from what she has gone through and how it impacts you and what you can do about it before you pop that short-term solution. And that's our topic today. But before we get there, we're going to have breakfast, which is taking a bite of our gratitude sandwich. 8 specific things that we are grateful for at the top of the bun. And then the bottom of the bun, 8 things that we appreciate about ourselves. So, Elan, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful to be here this morning and to actually make it. I got you. I'm grateful for that. I beat you.
It was amazing. I almost fell over. I came into the studio and she was already here. I love it. I'm grateful that I have co-hosts who definitely add to my experience as a host producer of this show. And I am so grateful that Elan is my Friday co-host for sure. And she's so wonderful. I love her so much. She's a new friend and her family, and it's just been wonderful. So I'm grateful for you.
I am grateful that we actually got to get together, even though it was 2 weeks ago. We finally got to see each other. We finally got to have a bite and a movie, and my schedule got a little bit busy, but we're going to do it again. I'm grateful for us to be able to spend that time. We have a good time when we're together. So
always,
I'm grateful.
Always. It is still breaking up, darling. Do you want to go out and then come back in?
Yes.
Do you have everything closed? Everything? Yeah. The other thing is, if anybody else is on internet, if you could get them off the wireless, that would also help. Okay? I'll see you in a minute. I'll finish off the gratitude sandwich.
Okay.
I am grateful for technology and its ability to be corrected. I'm grateful that I did my Blissipline this morning, rolled out of bed, and finished my 40 minutes cardio. I'm grateful that I'm still down 30 some pounds in a year. And I'm grateful that I got to go back on the water, my 34th racing sailboat season. And lastly, I'm grateful that I got to be of service yesterday. Oh, the best thing is that my 93-year-old bonus dad and I finished a song that he wanted to write and record. So it's called Siri. And I have to take it to the edit bay now, but I'm going to post an outtake from it today, just so you get a little taste or preview of this song, which I'm just so delighted that I got to do this with him. And it's so cute. I mean, he's 93 and he plays a ukulele and sings and writes, and so I am so fortunate to have Graham Martin, also known as my bonus dad, in my life. So that's the top of the bun gratitudes. We're going to go to the bottom of the bun now, which is appreciation. What do you appreciate about yourself? Now, there's a method to my madness in asking you to do this. It's called weight training, strength training of the core, foundational piece that I believe, my BS, my belief system, is that mental health starts with me. And if I can have a stable base of knowing who I am, knowing that I'm 88% fabulous, 12% of the time I step into it, but I'm very clear about who I am and all the good that I am, that will ward off the the punches or the big waves. I can dive under huge amounts of criticism, things that don't go right, things that don't go my way. I know who I am. I like who I am most of the time, and in that foundation, I can stabilize myself in my own mental health. And that's why we do the bottom of the bun. What do you like about yourself? And a lot of people have difficulty with that. One, because they're hooked into approval, getting love from, the wrong places, always looking who likes me, who loves me. And these days, who likes me literally? What are my numbers? Those kinds of ways to look at yourself are tough, because if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect other people to approve of you? So that's where it starts, and that's why we do the bottom of the bun. So perfect timing, and that is amazing, Elan. It's like 100% better. So and the lighting's great too.
My phone figure the computer out, so it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Is it better?
You look better. The sound is still kicking a little, but we're going to run with it.
Okay.
Okay. What do you appreciate about yourself?
I appreciate that I was able to.
What do you like about yourself?
That's what I appreciate. Because my computer went down. You don't understand. It's very traumatizing in the middle of the show trying to figure out how to get back on, because my kids hook everything before they go to school.
Ah, that's very nice. Thank them for me. I appreciate that I am fun-loving.
You are. I appreciate that. I appreciate that we have very similar personalities, and that we actually, why we enjoy each other, because we have the same humor. Even though yours is a little different, I think because of our humor, I think that's why we actually enjoy one another and have a good time. Nobody understands it but us.
That's for sure. I appreciate that I put on a life jacket every morning with a silver lining. That it's very, very, it's not easy to keep me down. I appreciate that about myself.
I appreciate that I can navigate through obstacles and still be able to find a way to have a solution. I can't let life take me sideways. I have to keep moving forward no matter what's thrown at me. I feel like I'm like running, and then, like in the cartoon, when you're like getting, thrown, the road runner, you get knocked upside the mountain, beep, beep, but you keep going. That's what I appreciate, that I come out on the other side.
Yeah, that is definitely something we both have in common too, is the discipline of getting back up no matter what. We just get back up. We don't, sit and go under the covers and eat bonbons or ice cream and feel sorry for ourselves. We might do it for 15 seconds and then we get back up. So I appreciate that about both of us. Last one.
Oh, I have one more. I appreciate that I have my coffee this morning so I can function and figure out how to do things. That's my last.
Okay. I appreciate that I am easier on myself than I used to be. I'm less self-critical. And so when people talk about being clean or pure, or, I just say, you know what? My one thing I love is my coffee in the morning, that one cup, and I am not giving that up. And I know it means I'm addicted to coffee, but heck, I'd rather be addicted to coffee than anything else. And I only have one cup. So you do you, and I'll do me.
When I was going through my healing of being, not, being sick for a while, they tell you lifestyle, eat different. It's healing and just being aware of nutrition. That's part of, your health management, which we're going to talk about today. And she said, give up coffee and sushi. Well, people have things about their coffee, or they'll say stuff about sushi, the parasites and all that. And I'm like, two things that make me happy, that keep me going in life, that, I have to keep going in life, and I have to have something to fight for. And it's my sushi and coffee.
Yeah.
Those
there
are the
you go.
I don't have a lot of vices. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't like the taste of alcohol. I just don't like the taste of it. Once in a while, I have a little cocktail, like a maybe a mojito, but for the most part, I just don't like the taste. And so I have to have something in life that
Yeah, absolutely. And that is going to segue us into the topic for the day, which is May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And Elan and I, we're always tempted to talk about things, not just that people avoid, but maybe a different side to things. Perfect timing. The sirens that are going on with that. But before we do that, first I want to thank you for joining us for breakfast. And then I want to just do a quick breath. You all know that I love the power of chi. I have a friend. I just got the text from. I have a brother who is in the hospital right now. Not Michael Bernard Beckwith or brother Ishmael Tete, another brother through my bonus dad, Graham Martin, who is 93, and he's concerned, and his heart is heavy over a very close friend of his who is in the hospital on life support. So I just want to give, and I got to meet his niece, Harry's niece, yesterday, and she just texted with an update. And so I just want us to, take that breath in through the nose and releasing through the mouth, sending a breath of peace and comfort and clarity as we continue to hold Harry in our highest, beautiful, peaceful thoughts, and for his niece Tracy, and just being with her right now in the hospital. So, all right, and coming back to the room. So I believe in the power of that. I believe in the power of intentions. I believe in the power of chi, life force, breath. So that's what we just did. All right, now here we go with mental health. I say mental health. I say mental health awareness. Elan, what comes to your mind?
Well, I think that we seem to have a big problem in California, San Francisco, Los Angeles, all over the globe right now with mental health. We have a lot of homelessness, and I think it attributes to mental health. And I don't think we have enough facilities. And instead, quite a few people have different scenarios. Some have lost their families, jobs. Some people have been on drugs. But I think there needs to be some assistance. Mental health workers that go out and talk to these people in the streets, provide them with facilities that will help them heal, and you're part of just a mental health. If you do have the resources, is lifestyle change. A lot of it is lifestyle. And I think that we need to recognize when someone has a mental disability. I think we just say it, oh, they're acting crazy. We'll label them. Oh, they're just, they're doing drugs. No, a lot of times depression, you can't read it, right? So I think that we need to see what we can do and have alternatives, just like we have alternative medicine from Western medicine. You need both. And what alternatives can we provide to help the people? And I think that's why we have so many people on the streets. But it is Mental Awareness Month, and it's self-care, right? It's just making sure that your body and your vehicle is healthy. Let's start there, because a lot of times you don't know how to make your vehicle, better. It's like if you have to go to the shop to get your car fixed, you have to get a tune-up, and we have to tune our bodies up, and that goes across the board.
Yeah,
that self-care is as just going to the beach. You may not have money to go in a facility, but you go to the beach, you look at the ocean, just like you believe in chi and the fresh air and breathing in. All that stuff has a lot to do with meditation. There's so many things that we can do. There's like the sound healing. You can go attend something like that. And I think the frequencies can help our brain, alter our brain. So let's just dive into some of the stuff that we think that would attribute. We don't know. Every individual is different. So we don't know what issue that you're dealing with. But what are some of the alternatives that are on the table that they can address? What can be, what can help?
Yeah, for sure. Many aspects Elan just touched on in this whole realm called mental health. I know that personally, the emphasis, I can remember maybe 20 years ago, you don't talk about mental health. You don't talk about depression. You don't talk about things, I grew up, don't air your dirty laundry. Don't bring shame to the family. In China, as a nation, to recognize the actual importance of mental health and psychology was a long time coming. And I can remember, even in my own family, my cousin didn't want me to talk to his daughter about going into psychology in college, because psychology was an embarrassment. Like, we don't talk about that. And then China had to deal with the fact that so many people committed suicide at the same time when they were trying to relocate farmers into the city, and you cannot ignore it. And so I am really grateful. I think Oprah did a great job of beginning to talk about that, moving from the craziness of Jerry Springer to the actual balance of what's real in people's lives. And people began talking about that. Certainly, I know it's a little controversial, but even, Meghan and Harry and their interview and talking about the impact of discrimination and isolation on mental health. I just pulled up, I was watching the Lakers last night with mom and dad, and, I didn't know this about Rui Hachimura. He sat out the first 39 games of the 2021 and 22 season to take care of his mental health and to deal with energies, and he talked about missing the games as needing to get his mind right. So good. I'm like, now I'm like a super fan, not just the Asian connection because he's part Japanese, but I just think that is great that people are beginning to talk about the need to talk about it, and that it is not something to be hidden or, put aside. So I think that is wonderful. And then I'm going to put the moose on the table and go to the other extreme, because that's what I like to do. And moose on the table is my Canadian version of talking about the elephant in the room, because I think in raising the issue and being open and aware about mental health, we have swung that pendulum way over to the other side. So there are such an increase of people taking antidepressants, anti-anxiety, more, anxiety disorders, panic disorders, all of these things that, to me, I'm not saying that drugs do not help, but in my experience, oftentimes your mental health starts here. And if you don't deal with the things that are yours to deal with, they will come back and deal with you. And taking something to not feel or to balance yourself out feeling wise may help in the short run, but long term, I have yet to meet people who long term, you see these commercials now. Oh, is your antidepressant not working? Well, take this before you take your antidepressant and it will help it work. But here are the side effects. You could have sexual dysfunction. You could not sleep. You can have liver damage. You can have, it's like, what the fork? Like, that's supposed to be a good thing. That's supposed to help you. So I want just to raise the real opportunity for all of us to, before you grab for that instant solution, short-term gain, can we look at what things we can do? Which is why when Elan suggested doing the show, I was all over it, because I want to spend some real easy things that we can do for ourselves to balance our mental awareness without the side effects.
Well, it starts.
Did I put that moose on the table?
Yes. Well, it starts at a young age too. We have to address that. It's a lot of times it starts at the schools. They want to put the kids on ADHD medicine, ADD medicine. And the schools are, when we were coming up, at least when I was coming up, they didn't have all this. Oh, you have ADHD. You just had some hyper kids. And the facilities don't want to deal with it. And like you said, all this medication, Adderall and all these other like name brand ADHD medications have side effects. So by the time you hit 18, 19 years old, your brain is not developed. Then you have a child that has mental issues because it starts at a young age. Instead of the schools or the teachers being equipped and trained for anyone with any disabilities, that they would say, hey, let's do this with this child. Let's put them in this program. Let's put them in a tutoring program to advance them to the next level. They don't do that. What they do is they'll say, we have a tutoring program. You can pay extra for your kid to go in there because they're not up to par. It's basically because the teachers are lazy, right? They just handed things and everyone learns at a different level. So then instead the kids end up being on drugs. And I know several people who have young adults that started on like these kids are taking Adderall, even the ones that don't have it, just for sports so they can focus. This is the problem. It affects your brain later on because you're not developed 22 years old, even like someone who gets bad drugs. And then you have children who get depressed because we have cultural issues. I do know that suicide is, and I've been told, I'm not one to my speculation is what I've been told allegedly in the Asian culture, because of the pressures of what is expected, there's a lot of the high suicide rate of young adults, right? But it goes across the spectrum of all of our cultural issues that we put on our kids. As parents, we want our kids to live in the light in which we see them, to emulate the image of our families and what we want them to do. People call people liberal. It has nothing to do with that because we live our lives. Our kids should be able to do what they want. Just even talk about the whole LGBT issues with those kids. Then you have another set of kids who just can't be who they are because people have religious issues. And then those kids go through psychological things. So there's so many things across the spectrum that we can address. But let's try to look at it in a different light and how we can help these individuals. And it starts young. It starts in the schools. We need to have teachers and faculty that's equipped to deal with kids who don't have to be on medication and have special programs. And I just think that basically it's just that some people are on a different level, right? You just have to take the time. I just don't remember having to deal with that with the people in my school. But I say that because it starts at that age. And then the kids start getting into drugs. And they do drugs. And then we have another set of issues by the time you're in your mid-20s. I'm driving down the street last week And there's these young guys, very handsome guys, living in tents on the side of the road. Now, I don't know if they're just homeless or they're on drugs, but it just made me sad because I was like, there's just no excuse for this in this country, for these people to be on the streets, and they're trying to keep each other together. So I don't even know what the solution is. I just think that we just need to address it. And I see like on the news, they're handing out needles. They're handing out crack pipes downtown Los Angeles so they can stay healthy and not get sick because it's clean. That is not the solution, to hand out paraphernalia of drugs for these people. Let's have mental health workers.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and the good news is, and let me just balance a couple of statements that Elan passionately made. Not all teachers are lazy. So let's just make sure that she was just talking about that there are some, right? And they have come up in the awareness, and that the issue of children being diagnosed and then given drugs, that is a reality that is not helping with our mental health, and that it's a systems issue. It's not all the teachers' problem, but it's not all the parents' problem, but it's not all the, it's one of those, we got to address it from every level. I agree that there are some teachers who would rather just do the uniform thing.
I don't want to say lazy, but
Go ahead.
Because you got to remember, Dr. Marissa, I have young kids. So you'd be surprised with the kids that I see, and I'm not talking about my kids, I'm saying overall, and I have kids in different schools. How many kids are taking this stuff? It's shocking to me. It's way more than you think. And that's what's so shocking. I have a son who's out of school now, but I have a younger one. And it's shocking from both schools how the kids are talking about it. So I think it's something that people aren't aware of that's going on. It is going on more than you think. And I'm not saying the teachers are late. I'm just saying that there needs to be something to address it. Anytime the schools send the kids during the middle of the day, and each child, you got like 100 kids a day, you're giving these drugs because they are. That's what's going on. So all I'm saying is it starts at age.
No,
and it is.
Yeah, I totally agree with you that it is way more prevalent than we believe it is. I'm just saying that it does not always mean that the teacher's lazy. That's all. You had made a statement, so I just didn't want the teachers to go, but definitely.
I'm not saying every teacher is lazy, but I can tell, in my opinion, I'm just saying what I've dealt with because I have so many friends who have younger kids, more so than not. Because when I was coming up in school, I remember with certain teachers, I excelled because those teachers pushed you, right? A lot of the teachers aren't like that anymore. I don't know what's going on is how they're trained, but I think they're trained in a different way where they just sit in front of the computer and they're like, here's assignments, do it. We just don't have the old school teachers anymore. But I'm not saying that's why we have mental illness. I'm blaming the schools for allowing certain children not to do well. And I think the mental health starts young, because then that's self-esteem if you don't do well, right? And then you start having young adults. And a lot of mental problems starts in young adults. It goes all the way up to older people, but you want to catch it before it gets to that stage.
Yes, I totally agree. If you've just tuned in, like Inspiration TV and Orville Nation, both Texas and New York are in the house. We are talking about May being Mental Health Awareness Month with a particular slant on solution, as usual. What can we do that is different than just automatically reaching for something outside of yourself, like medication that has side effects? And are we doing all we can with ourselves? So we've been talking also about the challenges and the things that are contributing to less mental health or ill health in our youngin in the school system, and what we can do and cannot do about it. So one of the things that I'm just passionate about is understanding how we have more power than we think we do over our own choices, our own lives, our own mental health. And one of the things is that does start in childhood is, do we value who we are? And all the things that you just talked about, Elan, where a child is raised in an environment, don't blame just the home, don't blame just the school, but if a child grows up in an environment where they are told they're not good enough, they're not worthy, they're you're not all that, you're not going to be anything, you're not going to amount to much. And I hate to say this, but the statistics show that 7 out of 10 of us grow up in that kind of setting, whether it's a teacher that tells you that, or a parent that tells you that, or a sibling that tells you that. That kind of upbringing will lead to people walking around with a very low self-esteem, which is, almost immediate. If you have low self-esteem, your predisposition towards sadness, depression, anxiety, fear, doubt, worry, it's like right there. So you grow up with low self-esteem, your ability to immediately jump into that pool of negative feelings, of worst case scenario, of worrying, constantly worrywart, of constantly looking for people to validate you, is highly correlated.
But you
if
also
you grow up,
you have to remember social media. Social media, we didn't grow up with that. So that plays into a lot, because it's immediate gratification. It's not just young people. The social media has affected older people, right? Because now you have a reason to be validated by going on social media and posting your pictures. I mean, I see women my age post. I do it too, post pictures. We all do. But if you don't have, like you just said, high self-esteem, people can be really mean and critical. I didn't mean to cut you off, but there was one particular thing. And this happened like maybe 10 years ago. There was a group, and they were doing some things. I said, well, that's so inappropriate. You guys should not do that. And the younger kids called me old and told me to get off their stuff. And I had to start laughing, because I said, that's not appropriate. You guys shouldn't do that. That looks bad on social media, especially. And all I was saying is, as a young person, which you should not do. But these kids are so savvy. They looked me up and told me to be quiet. And I had to start laughing. Now, if I'm a person that gets my feelings hurt easy, I would have taken that the wrong way. Like these younger people call me older. I didn't get upset. I just thought it was funny. Because I was trying to do it right. But that, with everything you said, is true. But let's include the fact that we didn't grow up with that. So that magnifies things much more. You see homeless people with cell phones, and they're on social media, because you have to keep up this image, because that's the society we live in. So that psychologically plays on a lot of who we are too.
Absolutely. Orville Nation is vehemently agreeing with us. Yes, social media addicts should all be sent to a spiritual Zen retreat without their technology. Good luck with that. But LOL, yes, for sure. And what you experienced, Elan, I also experienced on TikTok, where I saw something go by where they were making fun of someone who was a short person. Right. And it was just like cruel. What it was cruel. And I put there, I said, is there a way to laugh and be funny without putting people down, without being at the expense of someone who's different? And immediately someone put down, you should probably stay off social media, right? And I thought, like like go away, right? So I took the opportunity, and the reason why I even posted that, because I knew I was opening myself up for criticism,
Right.
but the reason why I did it is what you permit, you promote. I
Right.
truly, if I don't say something, it will continue to be okay. So when you hear someone making fun of someone as a joke, and you don't say anything, you're giving them tacit approval to continue to be an ash hole and make fun of people. I'm so glad that our sensitivity in humor has gotten sensitive, because there are so many ways to laugh without putting people down. So what I did was, that person that said that, I looked at his social, and then I came back and I said, actually, I've been on social just as long as you, and I have 3 decimal points more following and approval than you do. Now it isn't about the numbers, but for this particular interaction, I thought I would just, whatever. But I thought that was a
Great.
funny thing.
Exactly.
Let's see.
They were making fun of this young lady, and I said that's not okay. I think that she was a little intoxicated, but you could tell she was like a college student, and it was so inappropriate. But when they told me to get off social media, they called me old, which was hilarious, and I was a lot younger, and I just started laughing. I was like, oh, okay. I go, well, you know what, maybe one day you'll get it. And I left it alone. But I just saying full circle that, we have different personalities. We can handle that when we're being insulted. A lot of people can't. They take things to heart. So, that's part of the mental healing. I say to people all the time, if you want to be in entertainment, you have to be built for it. If you're not built for it, and once again, I didn't have social media. So although I would, someone could insult me if I had an audition or do something, that was in person. But in social media, they could just say whatever and rip you apart if someone doesn't like the way you look, or the way you're dressed, or whatever their issues are. You have to be able to deal with that. And some people that get into industry end up having mental issues because it breaks them down. So
Yes, for sure. Because there's so much rejection. And Elan, guess what? We're already at the 8-minute left mark. It goes so fast. So I just want to get to this particular page. This is from the World Health Organization. It just makes me so, it's so interesting that when people come to me for happiness coaching and they say, I don't feel good, like I feel like crap. And I go down this checklist, which are things that you can control, right? Are you getting enough sleep? And they'll say no. Why are you not getting enough sleep? Well, because I can't sleep. And I'm like, well, what are you doing instead of sleeping? Well, I'm on, doom scrolling, or I'm addicted to the series. I know I should go to sleep, but I don't. And it's like, okay, so don't, this is your life. You make the choices of whether you get enough sleep or not. Yeah. And if you have a habit of not going to bed, and yes, you'll toss and turn for the first couple of days because you have a bad habit of not getting enough sleep. But this is something that you can do besides getting an Ambien, besides getting, something to, this is your Blissipline. Are you getting healthy nutrition? Are you getting, are you going outside to get your vitamin D? Are you getting input of healthy news? Or are you watching things that depress you, or you get mad at or angry at? These are all things you're the boss of what comes into you in your world. So don't tell me that you're feeling bad if you haven't done these things. Do you have 88% good relationships with the people around you? If you don't, take care of your side of the street. Sorry. Okay. I'm done.
No,
but here, it's easy to find.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but toxic relationships always also attributes to it. It could be your relationship with your parents. That can play like a psychological issues. It could be your spouse, right? It could just be your friends who are non-well wishers. So that also, if you are around toxicity, I can't get it out today, then you have to change the people around you too. Because if they're not making you happy and supporting your mental health, then you need to get away from them. Because there's always people that, you know how you have that one friend who always like gives a little like a little dagger. It could be the smallest thing. You could say, hey, you know what? I got a promotion today. Oh, well, how did you get that? Did you hook up with somebody? I mean, people will say stuff like that to throw you off, just to be like mean about it. You can't have those kind of people around you. So I call them non-well wishers. Get the non-well wishers away from you too. If your relationship with your mother or your father is not good, say, look, I love you, but I have to put you on pause. Put people on pause and go do the steps that you said to take care of your mental state, to see what is causing you to go spiral out of control, and do a checklist, right? So that's what I want to add to that.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Screen time. How much screen time are you doing? How much external stimulation are you getting? Do you meditate? Do you sit with yourself? Are you okay with yourself? If you have like crazy thoughts, and your normal people have, 45,000 different thoughts every whatever, the best fix for that is meditation, where you train your mind to have no thought. That's all meditation is. You're giving your mind a break. What kinds of things are you thinking about? Are you a worry wart? If you're admittedly a worry wart, is it working for you? To be glass half empty is psychologically detrimental to your immune system. That is what is coming up in the research. It's not just a theory. So what are you doing? Like Elan said, use the checklist. Are you, are you taking things to not feel?
Well,
Drugs, alcohol, shopping, sex, all those things. Are you distracting yourself? Go ahead.
Love yourself. That's number one. Love yourself. And then you can start applying all those tools to heal yourself, right? You got to love yourself enough to use the tools to heal yourself. And it's like someone who's on drugs. You have to acknowledge that there's something going on. If your behavior is not normal, you have to say, I'm recycling the same results. I didn't used to do this and have these kind of results. Let me take a step back and see what I can do different. And then you facilitate, which tools that you can apply to help heal yourself. And everything's baby steps. It's not going to always you're going to go from 0 to 100, right? You're going to take baby steps, and the things that don't serve you, eliminate on that list until you get to the levels that you want. And each step, set goals, write down and say, this is where I want to be in 2 months. This is where I want to be in 3 months. Every month, write a new goal to help see if you graduated.
Yes. Great. One tool that I love using is whenever I have a thought, I slow it down. I go, does that thought make me feel better or worse? I don't like that person. Does that make me feel better or worse? It makes me feel worse because I know that I'm a loving person most of the time, and having that thought doesn't jive with who I really am. So what do? I may not like that person. I minimize contact with that person, or I say everybody does the best that they can with the time that they have and the resources they have. And that's the best that they can do. And I'm just going to bless them and let them go. So another one is consequences. We're like constantly, who's wrong, right? Who's to blame? If they would change, if that would change, but really the only thing we can really change is us. Am I doing something, thinking something, saying something that has consequences that are going to bite my asset? Yes or no? So I make the choice. I have a consequence. Are you looking at your own choices? If I choose to post something that is controversial, then you better believe one of the consequences is someone's going to come back and zing me. That's my choice. If you don't want that, if you can't take that, don't post it.
Right.
If you're going to post negativity, you will get negativity. If you're going to post positivity, you'll probably get negativity. That's, I want to do what I'm doing. I know a consequence of being out there and saying what I say is I'm going to have people coming back and saying, fork you, or who made you God, or who, you're not all that. And it's like, can I take that? Yeah, I can take it because I know I'm here to do what I'm doing. It's not, it looks selfish. Okay. I admit there's 12% of the time where I do want to look good. But most of the time, I'm saying what I'm saying because that's why I'm here. I've had all the crap happen to me so that I know I can say, I get you, and you can still be happy. You're not going to suffer the rest of your life if you don't keep dragging your past into your present and projecting it on your future. That's my story. That's why I'm here. That's why this book that I never intended to write went #1 bestseller, because I am a conduit, and I know that I am representative of the 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma who can still be happy. And drop the mic for me. Sorry.
Say it's true. And I always say, if it doesn't make sense, then don't do it. Those actions do have consequences. But before you take that step, when you're young, you're still finding your way. You're still learning. Your 20s is all about learning. But by 30 years old, if it's not making sense, then you don't do it. If you question and go, if I make this action and those consequences could turn out bad, and there's a possibility that can go south, then you should go, well, you know what? Maybe I should pull back and not do that. Maybe I shouldn't have that action. Let me take another road, because really it doesn't make sense. There's no guarantee in life, but when things don't make sense, there you go. Drop the mic. I forgot my thought.
Yeah, perfect. Drop the mic. We have 1.5 minutes. As usual, it went too fast. Next time, Orville, Inspiration, and Maria, welcome. Maria's so sweet. I just saw something on my YouTube that she was so nice about. But so my final word is, there's a couple of expressions that I use to keep my mental health centered. One is step away from the device. When I know that it's not good for me, step away from the device. It might be a person. Don't go to the tractor for milk. If you know someone's not going to pay you a compliment or see the best in you, just don't go there. And that is it for my final word. What's your final word, Elan?
I say stay away from the non-well-wishers. And if you have something that you know that's hindering you and you feel stuck, write it down and say, you know what, no matter how hard it is, say, you know what, I'm going to make an effort to do this one step today and see how the results come out.
Yeah. Yes. You are the boss of you. You are able to choose and find some balance for your own mental health. I'm so glad you joined us. Thank you so much for joining us here. We're still getting Peanut Gallery super sticker. $5. Thank you for joining us. This has been another scintillating, tempting conversation with Dr. Marissa and
Elan Carter.
I am knowing that you're going to have the best weekend ever. Remember, it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Thank you for joining us. You've been tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. Have the